Greetings, fellow Wastelanders, and welcome to this nuclear disaster that is my review of the Fallout show.
Hello there.
So, as I mentioned in a previous video, I didn't have high hopes for the show, and just a quick disclaimer, I am not a Fallout expert. I do enjoy the games. I am going to keep the majority of this review spoiler-free. I am going to get into some spoilers later on in the video, but I will give you a warning before I get into that. In fact, there's probably going to be a lot more that I want to talk about that's not going to fit into this one. I don't want to make this video like super long, but there is some things about the story and the characters that I want to discuss more in depth, so I'm probably going to make a part 2. And okay, well, let's get into it. So let's go ahead and start with the thing that you're going to notice first, and that is the art design, the sets, the wardrobe, props. Now personally, I feel like the creators really worked hard to really replicate the wasteland that you get to explore in the games. Everything looks pretty gritty, everyone's dirty and nasty and gross and weird. Even the vaults, which are supposed to be the more civilized, clean places, have this kind of grittiness. When it comes to the special effects, there's definitely parts where you can tell that it's CGI and stuff, but there are some things where they're practical effects. Like, for example, the power armor. They physically built suits for the actors to wear. Props to the creators for actually using practical effects, because I always think it's nice to see people using practical effects in their movies and their TV shows, rather than just using CGI for everything. It can just take you out of the world when there's too much CGI. But even when there is CGI, like, it's pretty good. Like, I think it's pretty impressive compared to a lot of other things out there. There are multiple skulls that get crushed into pudding. Faces get slashed open. Lots of people get shot up. Foots get mangled. Foots. Feet. It is very violent. And for the most part, the effects are pretty good. And a lot of it is like so over the top. There's one part when a guy's face gets like slashed with some glass, and it's just it's gross. It is over the top gratuitous, which is exactly what I would expect from a Fallout show anyway. It is rated mature for a reason. And another thing is the Ghoul makeup. I saw some people saying they didn't like the Ghoul makeup very much, and like the meme is true, right? Like Ghoulie boy, Mr. Cowpoke, he's pretty good looking for an over 200-year-old ghoul, you know what I mean? But to be fair, there are several other ghouls in the show, you know, a lot more messed up looking. Maybe he's just taken really good care of himself over the years. You know, we see that he's really good about making sure he's got whatever that stuff is that he takes to keep him from going feral. This is a new thing from the show. That's one thing that I wanted to address too, is because there are definitely things in the show that are different from the games. Little things that I noticed, and I personally don't have a huge problem with them. The Fallout universe, it's a big universe. There could be all kinds of things that are different that we don't see in the games. It doesn't all have to be exactly the same. But I noticed, like the Gulper thing, the big, it looks like a giant human mutant that tried to become an axolotl or something and just grew a bunch of fingers in his mouth. I don't remember seeing those in the game. There's a Brahmin that has fur. I've never seen a Brahmin with fur and isn't all like nasty looking. There's a deer that is very normal looking instead of a rad stag.
Just like we approach a game where we're gonna tell a new story, put it in a new location, the show does that.
This is like a new installation of the games. Working hand in hand with Todd and the rest of the team at Bethesda, there's a lot of work that went into making sure that this series continues to build on the world of Fallout rather than changing it.
The dialogue and the humor, I feel like, are very good. I like the jokes. It's pretty funny. I feel like the character, the way they talk and the dialogue, feels congruent with the Fallout universe. I like how Lucy, the girl from the vault, she's always trying to de-escalate situations, and it's really cringy and painful to watch, but that's just like, because she's from the vault, that's how she's been taught to deal with things. But in the Wasteland, they don't do stuff like that, so everyone just looks at her like she's a fucking idiot, and it's pretty funny. Max, the guy who's in the Brotherhood, I was expecting him to be like an actual knight, but he's more like a cadet. He's got this kind of almost gentle demeanor, but he's also very callous in a lot of ways. But it's like, he's not like evil or anything. But in the Ghoul, he's, you know, got that like cowboy southern accent going on, and his voice is a little slurry and muddled because of course he's a ghoul, his body is rotting away. And then I also have to just mention real quick, he's not in the show for a very long time, but I'm just gonna call him Linus because he's Michael Emerson, the guy who plays Linus in Lost, and when I see him, I just see Linus. So I love him. He just has this ability to speak in such a mysterious, eerie sort of way. I think he's great. I'm so glad that they put him in this show. He fits right in. And then the music. They of course used those classic songs from like the 40s and 50s that have become such an integral part of the mood and the feel of Fallout. They got all the classics, you know the songs that you can just jam to while you're wandering around the wasteland, if you don't care about hearing something sneak up on you. I really like the score. I really like the kind of low, drone-y kind of tones they used at times. There's a kind of variation of the bwom, I think fits very well. And then they of course used the Fallout theme kind of more towards the end of the show, especially when some things were being revealed. And then there's this very interesting part of the soundtrack that shows up when the Ghoul is on screens, particularly when he's about to do something cool or violent. There's like this yodeling, which is fine. I guess it works. That's kind of his theme, I guess, for some reason. But I do feel like, this is one of my minor complaints, I feel like it was a little bit overused maybe, because it was cool like the first few times, but by like the 15th time it was like, okay, we get it, he's cool, he's a badass, he's gonna fuck some shit up, like can you just shut up with the yodeling already? I thought everyone was really great in this. I didn't think anybody's acting felt stilted or weird. Walton Goggins is awesome. I didn't really know who he was before this, but people were praising the crap out of him, so it didn't disappoint. He's a great actor. I really like the girl who played Lucy and the guy who played Max and all the supporting characters. It was just a great cast. So quick rundown before I get into spoilers, because I'm about to get into spoiler territory. So Lucy is the vault dweller chick who, her vault gets attacked, her dad gets kidnapped, and she leaves the vault because she wants to save her dad. This feels a little bit cliche, to be honest. I feel like I've seen this storyline before many times. What they do with it later on kind of redeems it a little bit. She's fun, so that's her deal. And then we have Mac. He's a cadet or a trainee or whatever. I can't remember what they call them in the Brotherhood. He really wants to be a knight. He gets jealous of his friend Dane when they are promoted to squire, which is like the person that is like the assistant for the knight. By the way, Max's friend Dane is actually a non-binary character, which I thought was pretty cool. Way to be inclusive, Amazon. Very nice. Obviously, that's always nice to see. But yeah, Max is willing to do some messed up things to get what he wants. I'll say that much. So, but anyway, let's move on to Mr. Ghoulie. Mr. Ghoulie man. Ghoulie boy. Mr. Ghoul. I don't know. I love the Ghoul. He's my favorite. He's probably gonna be everybody's favorite, to be honest. He's just a badass, and he's the kind of like jaded badass though that like, deep down, he's got a good heart. Like, he's not such a bad guy. He does what he needs to do to survive just like anybody else, and he does have some other motivations behind what he does. He's definitely not very nice to Lucy at first. He's perfectly okay with cutting off fingers and killing people and leaving people to die, so he's a lot of fun. He's very funny. He has this give no shits attitude, which I like, so I don't know, he's just cool. So yeah, that is what I thought of the Fallout show in a nutshell. I really enjoyed it. I have some just minor complaints about it, really. I think that the main issue that I had that kind of bothered me about it was there were some weird plot convenience moments that just kind of took me out of it a little bit. Like, for example, the guy Linus, the doctor guy, the fact that he kind of ran into certain characters or was in the same vicinity as certain characters way too many times, and it was just it just felt very convenient and weird. Like when him and Lucy first met, like he just kind of showed up at her camp while she was asleep, and it's like, where the fuck did you come from? And he says all this shit, and it's like, I don't know, it felt like the kind of conversation that should have happened after maybe they got to know each other for 5 minutes, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be better when I rewatch it. Because I've only done it once through so far, but I'm definitely going to watch it a second time, because I do think I want to talk more in depth about some elements of the show, particularly when it comes to the story and the characters. So yeah, but other than that, like, I feel like everything was pretty good. Like, I really enjoyed it. It made me want to play the games, which is a good sign, and yeah, I just thought it was a really good show. I thought it was, it felt like Fallout, it looked like Fallout, it sounded like Fallout, it smelled like Fallout, at least I'm assuming. what Fallout would smell like, which isn't good. So yeah, this is gonna be one of the shows that I actually do keep up on and look forward to next season. Yeah, I think the last show that I watched was Altered Carbon on Netflix, which is a really good show, and you should definitely check it out. It's very dark. It's very, very dark. It's way darker than Fallout. It's not funny at all. But anyway, yeah, if you haven't watched it already, I definitely recommend it, especially if you are a fan of the games. And even if you're not, you'll probably enjoy it just as much. If you're into, dark, post-apocalyptic, ridiculous, it'll be right up your alley. So yeah, check it out if you haven't yet. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go into the spoiler section of the review. So if you haven't watched it, go do that right now. Go do that now, and then you can come back and watch the rest of my video. So if you are leaving, then thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to see more from me, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Also, don't forget to click on the bell, turn on notifications, because that's the only way that you can be sure to be notified of my videos. And yeah, I'll see you next time, hopefully. Okay, so I want to talk about the story and the end of the show and all the twists and turns that were pretty cool. So first of all, let's talk about Lucy a little bit. So Lucy is the vault dweller. The reason Lucy leaves the vault is to find her dad, right? And there's this whole mystery with these 3 vaults that are connected. This is not just her vault. Her vault is Vault 33, but there's also 32 and 31. But we find out by the end of the show is that her dad was actually around back before the war. And I think what it suggests is that he and all of the other overseers that have led Vault 33, and when Lucy's little brother, who's this like really smart kid, find out that they've all come from Vault 31, he goes and he investigates Vault 31, which he's not supposed to do. He finds that nobody's living there, it's practically empty. There's some dude who's just a brain in a box rolling around, and it's full of people who are cryogenically frozen. And all of these people are people who were actually involved in the bombs dropping, and that created this wasteland, which is insane. And that includes the dude that's the brain in the box. So all these overseers, they've just been in cryo for like all these years to just wake them up for them to lead these vaults. So Max, his town, which is called Shady Sands, was destroyed by a bomb, and this town was built by wasteland survivors who were trying to bring back civilization. And the reason that this town got blown up was because of these overseers. Back when Max was a kid, Lucy's dad actually made the decision to blow up that town because, well, basically they don't want any competition. They want to be the ones responsible for rebuilding humanity and civilization the way that they see fit. They don't want anybody else doing that. So they destroyed this town. So we find out that everything that Max has been through has been because of Lucy's dad and what these overseers have done. But the Ghoul story is the most interesting in my opinion. He's a Ghoul, he's been around for over 200 years, of course. And the Ghoul is a character named Cooper Howard. He's the guy in the Vault-Tec commercial that you see in the trailer. And I really love how the show actually opens, because it opens the day that the bombs went off, and you see Cooper and his daughter, and they're at like a birthday party, and there's stuff on the news about bombs possibly being dropped, and they're trying to have this fun birthday party for this kid, but there's this like tension in the air, and his daughter asks Cooper if he thinks the bombs are gonna drop, if it's gonna happen. And he's like, well, I hope not. But the thing is, he kind of knows that they are, because what we find out at the end of the show is that his wife actually works for Vault-Tec. He's an actor, and he makes these like cowboy movies. He's very famous. And his wife, who works for Vault-Tec, convinces him to start doing these commercials for Vault-Tec and promoting these vaults. But then he gets approached by this woman who is the leader of the Raiders, and she's got a weird name and I can't remember. It's like a Moldaver, or something like that. I can barely pronounce it, but it's her, and I'm assuming she was cryogenically frozen too, otherwise how else would she still be alive? But yeah, he's approached by her. Moldaver was friends with Lucy's mom. Lucy's mom actually left the vault and went to live in Shady Sands with Moldaver. Lucy's mom became ghoulified, and she's the worst looking ghoul in the show. It's actually really sad. But obviously Moldaver cared about Lucy's mom a lot. She just kept her as this undead ghoul thing. She's just sitting, chilling at the dinner table with her. So, but anyway, she was around back before the bombs went off too. And she approached Cooper and she's like telling him that Vault-Tec is up to some bad, evil business. And he's like, nah, my wife wouldn't be involved with that stuff. But Moldaver gives him like this listening device and asks him if he can connect it with her Pip-Boy. He can listen in on the conversations that she's having at work, find out what they're up to. And there's this moment, and it's a bomb drops. Not a literal bomb, a plot bomb, where he's listening and he can't hear very well outside the building, so he actually goes into the building and he's kind of pretending he's doing something else. And somebody approaches him like, oh, one of my colleagues is a big fan. Can you wait here a second? I'm gonna go get him so we can meet you. And he's like, yeah, sure. So he's waiting there, and as he's listening to his wife in this meeting with all these people. And what he overhears is, so Vault-Tec, they're making all these vaults because people are really worried about bombs dropping. But the thing is, these vaults aren't going to sell if the bombs don't drop. Vault-Tec's going to lose a lot of money. So what are they going to do? They're going to make sure the bombs drop. In fact, the phrase that his wife says is, we're going to drop the bombs ourselves. So it was Vault-Tec themselves that actually caused the end of the world and created this wasteland, made all these horrible things happen because they wanted to make money. And so he hears this and he's just kind of like loses reality for a second. And then in comes this fan of his. And who is it? It's none other than a young version of Lucy's dad. So yeah, and that's how it's revealed that he was involved with all this as well. And then it's during this sequence when you get the classic line finally, that war never changes. First Cooper's wife says it, and then he says it to Lucy in the present day, right before he's like, why don't you come with me and we'll find out the truth together. And apparently he's been wandering around for the past 200 years looking for his family. So that's what's been motivating him all this time. That's why he's doing everything that he's doing, because I guess whatever happened after the bombs went off, he got separated from his wife and daughter somehow, and I mean, it's been 200 years, dude, so they're probably dead, but he's still looking for them. But who knows, maybe they're ghouls too. Maybe they got ghoulified as well. So yeah, all these characters have these connections, and they all kind of come together at the end. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. I thought that the twists and turns were pretty intriguing. Very interesting. So yeah, like the whole thing is that Vault-Tec decided they wanted to end the world to make money. And not only that, but they wanted to wipe out everything on the surface and rebuild society themselves so that there wouldn't be war anymore. Because if they were the only ones left, then there wouldn't be war. Which, that's false. I mean, if we learned anything from Attack on Titan, I think it was Erwin who said the line, as long as human beings exist, there will be conflict. Like, that's just the nature of human beings. You know, war never changes, and war never is going to go away, no matter how hard you try. People will always disagree, people will always want to do different things, and, you know, it's just not possible. So this is, Vault-Tec are insane people. So yeah, like I said, I'm really looking forward to Season 2. I really want to see more of Cooper's story, especially. I really want to see him be hopefully reunited with his family, at least his daughter, or find out what happened to them. And then we have Lucy and Max, who they kind of develop a bit of a relationship. I think that they have pretty good chemistry too. Like, I like them. They're kind of cute together. I liked when she was like, you're a good person. Then he finally admits to her. So he's like, my name's not Titus, it's Max, and I let my knight die, and I did all this horrible stuff. And she's like, well, I did horrible stuff too, so... So they're like, yeah, you know what, it's all good. It's what the wasteland does to you. So, ain't that just how it is? So yeah, looking forward to seeing more of their story. I'm wondering how she's gonna deal with everything she's learned, what kind of person she's gonna become. I know what's gonna happen to Max. He's stuck there with the Brotherhood now. And then of course they have this cold fusion thing, which has just brought power back to the whole city. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. So yeah, I really like the show. I want to know what you guys thought of it, what you think. Did you guys like it? What did you think of the characters? What did you think of Mr. Ghoul, Mr. Ghouly Boy? He's my favorite. Is he your favorite too? What did you think of the story and the plot twists and everything? And is there anything that bothered you about it? Any issues you had with it? Anything you think that could be improved upon? I'm really interested to hear what you think about that as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit subscribe, make sure to ding that little notification bell so YouTube tells you when I've got another video coming out. I think what I'm going to do next, I'm going to do some gaming videos. I'm going to play some New Vegas because I have never played New Vegas, and I know that is a cardinal sin. I can't claim that I am a true Fallout fan until I've played this. So that is something I need to do. I need to rectify this travesty. So yeah, hopefully I will see you in my next video, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you next time. Peace.
I'm tickled pink that things are rosy and skies are blue once again. Let the bygones go bye-bye. No more will I